Hi friends, Miss Kristi here, and I am so excited to be cooking together again. Today we are making homemade granola, and this is hands down my favorite snack. I make it at least once a week. It's something that you can eat just plain out of the bowl. You can put it on yogurt, eat it as cereal. It's just a really great snack to have on hand. It's gonna be a fun day in the kitchen, and I'm so glad you're here. Now we know that cooking in the kitchen and working in the kitchen requires clean hands. So while I wash my hands with soap and warm water for at least 20 seconds, let's go over the ingredients and supplies that you'll need to cook along today. The ingredients you'll need are 1/2 cup of olive oil, 1/2 cup of real maple syrup, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 3 cups old-fashioned oatmeal. The supplies you'll need are oven mitts for safety, a baking sheet, a large mixing bowl, a container with a lid, a liquid measuring cup, 1 cup dry measuring cup, a whisk, a spatula, 1/2 teaspoon, and optional parchment paper. Okay, great. Now that we have clean hands and you've gathered the ingredients and supplies that we need to cook along together, let's get started. So the very first step is going to preheat the oven to 320 degrees. So let's do that. All right, while the oven is preheating, let's make this homemade granola. So first of all, grab your large mixing bowl that we have, and we are gonna start with the olive oil. So you're going to need 1/2 cup of olive oil. If you don't happen to have olive oil, you could always use like a vegetable oil, but I like to use olive oil, and I have that on hand. And then you need your liquid measuring cup, okay? We need 1/2 cup of olive oil. So set your measuring cup down flat so we have a nice even measurement. And we are gonna measure again 1/2 cup of olive oil. Okay. And that just goes straight into our bowl. Pour it in. And the same thing, now we need 1/2 cup of maple syrup, and we need to use real maple syrup. So sometimes you might have a different kind that maybe goes on your pancakes or your waffles, but we need real maple syrup because it's gonna help with the flavor. And we need 1/2 cup. So the same liquid measuring cup we just used, I'm just gonna add 1/2 cup of maple syrup. All right, and then it just goes straight into the bowl with our olive oil. All right, and we're done with the liquid measuring cup, so you can put that to the side. And now we need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So you're gonna grab your 1/2 teaspoon, it's gonna say 1/2, and then TSP for teaspoon. And we need to grab our salt. We're gonna do 1/2 teaspoon. Scoop it in, sprinkle it in our bowl. Okay. And then 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. So this is a really kind of simple recipe, not a lot of ingredients, and it makes a really good snack. All right, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, scoop that out, goes right into the bowl. And now we're just gonna whisk it together. So grab your whisk and we're going to mix it. And you wanna mix it until it looks a little bit thicker than where we started. So when we first poured the olive oil in and the maple syrup, it was thin, but as I mix it with my whisk, you can see that it's getting a little bit thicker, and that's what we're looking for, to mix all those ingredients and get a little bit of a thick kind of sweet sauce going on here. All right, once we feel that we have mixed it all together, we're going to add the oatmeal. Now, old-fashioned oats is what we have. So usually the oatmeal is gonna come in like a quick cooking or an old-fashioned. We need the old-fashioned kind because it's gonna cook as a better granola. So grab your oatmeal and you're gonna grab your 1 cup measuring cup. So this is gonna say 1, it's the big one. and we need 3 cups of oatmeal. So we're just going to pour in 3 of these 1 cups. And if you end up spilling some or you get more, that's really okay. It doesn't have to be perfect for this recipe. So that's 1, 2, 3 cups of old-fashioned oatmeal. Exciting. All right. Now you're just gonna grab your spatula that we have to mix it all together and just mix it. Because you wanna get all of your oatmeal covered in our awesome, sweet little sauce we made here until all of the oatmeal looks like it's been covered. So that's the goal when we're mixing it. And this is pretty much it. Again, this is really a simple snack. It's gonna make 3 cups of granola, so it's a nice size if you wanna share it with someone or maybe pop it in the pantry and have it for a couple days. Not a lot of ingredients, and it makes a really nice snack. All right, easy enough. So this is all mixed together. So I'm just gonna put this to the side for a second, and now we're gonna grab our baking sheet. I have parchment paper. This is gonna make your life a lot easier when we go to take it off of the baking sheet. So I'm gonna lay my parchment paper down on top of my baking sheet. If you don't have parchment paper, it's totally okay. You could just maybe put some cooking spray on a baking sheet and use it like that. You don't have to have it. Again, it just makes it a little bit easier to get off the pan. So I'm gonna lay my parchment paper down on my baking sheet. And now we're just gonna pour the granola on and make a thin, flat layer before we pop it in the oven. And it smells really good because of the maple syrup and the cinnamon. You definitely have to try this if you liked granola because it's super simple and it tastes really yummy. All right, set this to the side. All right, so now I'm just gonna spread it out because we want a thin layer. So if it was all blobbed together, it wouldn't cook evenly. You'd have some really hard pieces and then you'd have some really soft pieces. So we wanna make a thin layer so we can get an even cook on our granola. And then also you wanna try to press it down a little bit with your spatula because that will give you more of chunks of granola instead of just little individual pieces. I like my granola to be a little bit chunky, so if you press it down, that's gonna make it stick together a bit. And when it's done, it'll be some more bigger pieces that you can snack on too. All right, perfect. So that's the recipe, and now all we have to do is cook it. And how this works is we're gonna put it in the oven for 12 minutes and set the timer. When it comes out of the oven, after that timer goes off, we're gonna take it out carefully, set it here, stir it, and then it goes back in the oven for another 12 minutes. So total, we cook it for 24 minutes, but we do 12 minutes, and then stir it, and then 12 more minutes. So I'm gonna put this in the oven, set our 12-minute timer, and then we will take it out and stir it. All right, our first 12-minute timer just went off. So I'm gonna put my oven mitts on for safety and carefully take the pan out of the oven and bring it back to our workspace to set it on a cutting board like I have, or a pot holder, something to protect the counter, and then we'll give it a stir. All right, so it smells even better than when we put it in the first time. And again, we're just going to stir it. That way we can get it mixed up and the bottom has a chance to not get burnt. So we wanna just carefully, don't touch the pan because it's very hot and we've taken our oven mitts off. So grab the spatula that you had before and just give it a stir. which is also why the parchment paper helps a little bit because it's easy to move around right now. But you just basically want to kind of stir it up and then again, flatten it back down. This is going to give us, like I said, those chunks of granola that'll kind of break apart when we put it in our container to store it. So we just gave it a quick stir. We're going to pat it down so it's a nice even layer again. And then it goes back in the oven for 12 more minutes. That's the last time. So once we put this back in the oven and we set another 12-minute timer, once that goes off, then we'll be done and we'll bring it back and I'll show you how to finish it. But we just took it out of the oven, so put your oven mitts back on because the pan is still very hot. And carefully, we're gonna put this back in the oven and set that 12-minute timer. All right, our second 12-minute timer just went off. So we're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna put my oven mitts on for safety. I'm going to take it out of the oven very carefully, very hot pan, and then I'm gonna set it at our workspace to cool for 5 minutes before we start trying to take it off the pan and store it. So let's get it out of the oven and let it cool for 5 minutes. All right, our granola has been cooling for 5 minutes. So now we're just gonna go ahead and put it in the container that we're gonna store it in so you can enjoy it throughout the week. I just have a bowl with a lid. You can do something like this. You can put it in Tupperware, but something that's going to have a lid to keep it fresh so it doesn't get stale. All right, so carefully, this is where the parchment paper comes in handy because it can just slide off. But let's move this over here. Grab your pan now that it's cool, and don't forget, hopefully you've turned off your oven, so that's important too. But grab your pan and you're just gonna use your spatula and kind of crunch it up a little bit. And you can kind of see where we made some bigger chunks like I was talking about because we pressed it down. So just going to kind of get it into the middle so I can slide it into our bowl. And you can kind of break it up a little bit. We want it to fit in whatever container we're using. That's important. Okay. So now I'm just going to take our container and carefully get it in there. So you can see why parchment paper is helpful because I just slid it right in there. If not, and you didn't have parchment paper, you could just take a spatula and scoop it in. If it gets a little bit messy and it falls out, just put it back in your bowl, not a problem. So this is it. This is our homemade granola. And if you want to keep it in the pantry, it should keep for about a week to munch on throughout the week. You can put it in the refrigerator, which will make it last a little bit longer, probably about a week or two. But again, this is just something super simple. We didn't use a lot of ingredients. You can put it in milk as a cereal. You can just take big chunks of it like I like to do for a snack, or you can put it on yogurt, make a parfait. So many options, and again, just a really great snack to have on hand. So I hope you try it. Now, next week's episode, we are making peanut butter chocolate chip cookies. Believe it or not, this is very simple, not a lot of ingredients, and they taste really yummy. So to cook along with us next week, these are the ingredients that you'll need. The ingredients you need are 1 egg, 1/2 cup of creamy peanut butter, 1/2 cup of sugar, and 1/4 cup chocolate chips. All right, friends, We've made our homemade granola. You know what you need to cook along next time. And I'm just so thankful that we got to cook together today. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss an episode, or you get notified of the episodes that we have coming up. So make sure to subscribe. And I do hope you join us next week to cook along. Thanks for trying it, my friends. We'll see you next time.